Welcome to the Calgary Sessions. This is episode number 32. I'm your host, Jeff Humphreys. Today's guest, I keep on saying that for every guest, it's going to be another cool conversation. This is a new connection through a buddy of ours, Laval St. Germain. So shout out to Mr. Laval.
Yeah.
Let you introduce yourself, name, and what you're up to.
Well, I'm Baruch Laskin. Grew up on a farm in Millerville, south of Calgary. Mm-hmm. And I still call this place home and reside out in Bragg Creek area now, and got some great projects on the go. Love connecting people.
Yep.
And just really happy to be here with you.
Cool. And your projects, there's a couple of them that are super interesting to me. So I'm going to be excited to hear what you have going on. So the gist of the show is I like the guests to kind of go back as far as they want to go. You and I got a bunch of interesting connections that we talked about a couple months ago, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want you to go back to kind of growing up and just a point in time when things started to click for you. You know, what inspired you, just how you grew up, how your parents influenced you, if they did or they didn't. Just go back as far as you want to go.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, we've actually never met in person, but you're...
But you know, right? You know when you meet somebody right away that, you know, we talked on the phone once, quickly, and you know right away that you're aligned with that person. I find when you know, mm-hmm. And that's why I think sitting down with you, I'm like, oh, I already know the guy. Like, I know nothing, but I know you.
And you know, we can touch on this in a little bit, but this project I'm working on, that's actually the main piece to it, is being able to sit down beside someone and creating a space where you don't know someone like with time,
Yep.
But when you sit with them, there's that immediate connection. So create a space where people gather that immediately you can be vulnerable and have that, you know, sense of like, you know, no judgment.
Yep.
And creating a space like that. So
it's unique. It's unique to think like that, though, right? Like to build something around that thought process.
Yeah,
is different.
It is, and I guess that's why my family's like the Royal Tannenbaums,
Awesome.
which is, you know, as a kid growing up in Millerville, I couldn't figure out why. It was my mom's farm, and we raised Angora goats, and you know, moved there in like early 70s. So I'm 49 now.
Okay.
And lots of my friends, you know, we'd go to Expo 86 and everybody wanted my mom to be the chaperone. She came on the trip and they wanted her. I couldn't figure out why. And now in hindsight, I'm like, oh, it all makes sense now.
What was it? What was it?
You know,
her vibe?
Yeah, my mom's vibe. You know, she, our household was great. You know, she would, my mom and dad, both remarkable.
Yep.
My dad was a little older. He had me when he was 43. Mm-hmm. So he passed about 12 years ago now, which is, you know, he had a long life, was 80. Mm-hmm. But then my mom, she bought the farm from my dad when I was about 6. And then I have 2 younger brothers, one older brother who's 10 years older.
No way.
We knew each other in the ovaries, right? But, you know, way back when, you know, my mom was whisked away and he, you know, up to Edmonton and had him, and he was adopted into a home, and we've known each other now for about 16 years. And we know each other well enough now that we can push each other's buttons,
cool.
You know,
Yep.
Which is really good, you know, and, you know, lots of love. Mm-hmm. And going back to my mom, you know, it was my mom's farm, and she wanted to create a farm and a great environment for the 3 boys to grow up in.
Yep.
And just a really great space, about a half section of land.
Oh, big.
Yeah, so bigger, you know, with, you know, grains and hay and then 3 Point Creek, which runs through it. So this beautiful creek, and we would trudge down there as kids, my brothers and I, and come back like popsicles. And she'd, I'm the runt of the family at 6'1". My mom's 6'2".
What?
Yeah. So, you know, and she would pull us out of our like snow pants, like popsicles, you know, and throw us, the 3 of us, in the tub. And, you know, we would road trip and adventure and lifelong learning. And I think that was really instilled at a young age. And
why do you think she did that? What, like, where was that? Just that's how she wanted to raise you, or she grew up like that, or what? Or just the environment she was
grew
living
up
around?
like that.
Yeah,
you know, she grew up like that. That's just the mindset that and the household that she grew up in. Mm-hmm. So it's really fun, and I think that set me on my path. Mm-hmm. You know, it really did.
when did you connect those dots that you can look back at those years and understand that kind of built the foundation for what you're up to?
I'd probably say grade 11.
Yeah.
Went to Millerville Community School.
How big was that?
Oh my goodness. My
Like 12 people?
My grade 9 class had, like 13 people in
way.
my graduating class. And then my grandfather on my dad's side put aside a few dollars and ended up going to Strathcona Tweedsmuir School.
Oh, no way.
Which was awesome. It was only 10 minutes away. And, it gave me many opportunities and great connectivity, like the alumni program and that network. I love it. And, grade 11, our class had many personalities, if you will. And
was it only for, because I know a couple of people that went there, was it only for, well, maybe not. Was it, what kind of people went there? Problem kids, smart kids, people that just lived close to the school, or was it just a mishmash?
I would say the mishmash.
Yep.
Not necessarily affluent, but there is a tendency towards that for sure,
Yep.
which makes sense.
Yep.
But there's programs to be able to help for subsidies and stuff as well, to subsidize the curriculum.
Yep.
But at the same time, I live close. Some of the problem kids, you need to do better, right? Give a good foundation. And then grade 11, there's a few comments and people chuckled. And at that point, I figured out that I was potentially funny, and then ended up going off to University of Victoria, which was amazing. And, left the Angora goats where you get mohair. We had 300 goats.
300?
300. It's a lot of work. It was great.
When you were growing up, was it were you like a full time after school hours as like a farmhand, like working?
For sure.
Yep.
And even before school, sometimes I would say I did the chores, but didn't. But most of the time, absolutely.
Like work, right? Like
you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a lot. And then we also shipped our animals around the world. So we were at the forefront of the industry. So like our herd name, Woodhill, is known in the UK, for instance. So we would be quarantining animals and doing a myriad of things. And then in '88, we were in the first import of alpacas into Canada.
No way.
So then we shifted to another fiber, and it was fascinating.
How do you get involved? Like seriously, when you think about it, how's that even possible in Millerville?
It was just the norm, because I didn't know anything different. When you're a kid, that indoctrination, if you will, you can call this anything, right?
Yeah.
Call it a cup, call it a lamp, but as a child, you'll just know this as whatever you're raised with it as.
Yep.
And in our household, it was just that eclectic randomness of we didn't it was just that was the way.
What happens when your friends came over? Could they pick up on the randomness and how unique this place was?
Absolutely. They loved it. They absolutely loved it. And actually still keep in touch with many kids that went to kindergarten with, which is pretty cool. And one of the things growing up in Millerville that I think also really has made me who I am today, decades later, is the Millerville racetrack. So it's the oldest racetrack in Alberta. But the Millerville Fair, and I would go down, bike on my bike. It was about 7K on a gravel road to meet Harold Biswanger, and a local guy who would make Saskatoon ice cream, with real Saskatoons. And he was just a volunteer as well, but would make the ice cream, and that's his real name. But just this sense of community, and it was embraced by the junior board members, as part of the junior hort club, and learned about that. And we travel around the community and all of these different pieces. But we would all gather at this gathering place, the Millerville racetrack.
Weekly?
No, not weekly.
How was it only when these things kind of came together?
Yeah, maybe like Halloween was super fun.
Yeah.
The haunted house, really fun, like that fantasy, right?
Yeah.
That simulation, if you will, right? We've got our reality, but you need fantasy to give us perspective, right? So love that.
Yep.
And so then left there, went to University of Victoria.
What were you interested in back then? Like kind of like growing up, besides working on this super cool farm. But what were you kind of getting into? Like, were you just kind of working, hanging out? Was like sports, anything happening? Or were you just kind of like...
Well, we did all sports,
Yep.
you know, relatively athletic, you
Yep.
know, myself, and not near as athletic as my younger brothers, are just different, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I'd say, you know, I've just loved people,
Yep.
truly.
You knew
Loved
that
people.
early?
I did.
Extrovert early? Or was it grade 11 that you realized you were like a big
A
extrovert?
little bit more in grade 11.
Yep.
A little bit. Now, how do you know I'm an extrovert?
It could have been the 5 seconds before. Well, when we met 20 minutes ago, I'm like, okay.
Oh, fair enough. You know, and, you know, I knew that, you know, my brothers are Lee, David, and Jay. My name's Baruch. You know, it's...
Like, where's that? How does that even...
It's a Hebrew name. It's Baruch. It means
where's
blessed one.
But like...
I'm a country Jew from Millerville. So on my dad's side, came from Belarus and the Ukraine in the early 1900s by boat. This is actually resonates with me to this day, is that, so on my dad's side, he was, I think, right around 9, my grandfather, my Zeta. And his parents, it was during the pogroms, like some of those real tough times in Belarus towards lots of the Jewish people. And he was sent with $5 sewn in his breast pocket of his jacket to Scotland to go meet this red-haired lady. And this is what makes Canada, Canada. And so sent there, he danced, she played the fiddle to raise enough money for one ticket on the boat in 1913, I think it was.
Yep.
And they finally raised enough money after a few months, bought one ticket. He stowed away for 2 days, I think, because otherwise they would turn the boats around to kick off all the stowaways. So I'm told. And they arrived in Quebec City, and then he made his way to Middle Saskatchewan.
You imagine?
I can't.
I don't know what time of year they showed up. You imagine showing up at any time to this, like...
It brings... I do a lot of emceeing. So I'm a professional magician and juggler and MC out of university. And I MC a lot of Canada Days. And Canada Day maybe has shifted because of our awareness of things, I think. You know, as immigrants, we're all immigrants here, unless you're First Nation. And, but nonetheless, like, thinking back to my grandfather on this boat and, like, just, like, the abandonment and, like, not knowing anything, but maybe the opportunity in those possibilities. I'm not a fan of the word hope, but, you know, I'll sometimes share this as an MC on Canada Day, and it's shocking, like, you know, to have that firsthand account. And even right now, I'm just like, you know, like, can you imagine sending your child?
No.
Like at 9?
No.
Probably never see them again.
No.
Stuff like this still happens today.
Yep.
You know, look at what's been happening in, you know, lots of the areas of the world, you know, so where are we now? Who knows, right?
Well, the reason, right before when you went there, I was like, how did you touched on it quickly, was the naming of your family. You got these brothers.
Yeah.
Very simple, normal.
More normal. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you. And are you, and this is me knowing nothing, are you
Go for it,
are you the character of the family?
No, I'd say we all pretty similar.
Really?
Which is interesting. Yeah, very much so.
And that's just how you were brought up? Your mom, heavy influence? Like, was she the...
I think it's the genes, because my older brother, Jay, he was adopted into this family, 9 to 5, like, you know, very, like, you know, they'd eat it, you know, 8 a.m., dinner at 5 p.m. The father would go back to work after dinner. And even he would say, and he says, like, I didn't quite necessarily feel like I fit in. And then I actually, even though we don't have the same father, we have similar intonations, the way we walk and speak and stuff, which is pretty interesting. So how is that possible?
Have you thought about that?
Lots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And have you come to anything that makes a little bit of sense?
Well, just strong genes, I guess, right?
It just being around it and just like...
Maybe, right?
That energy.
And, you know, bring it back. And thanks for, you know, the way my mind thinks. I've got all these little ideas. And so you can bring it back.
Well,
Baruch. Yeah. I didn't have a name for 10 days. There was no name that suited. And then that was the name.
Crazy.
It is.
And it's perfect.
It works. It really works well.
So crazy.
It is. It's awesome.
Sorry, and you wanted to go here. You got to university. You went out west?
I did.
What was going on? Why'd you go there?
Well, to be honest, I went there because grade 11, when I found out, there's a little comedic side, I really neglected my schoolwork. And I got into 2 universities, Bishops and Early, and then and UVic. And then UVic put me on probation my first year because my grades really declined for the second half of grade 12.
You were just not interested? So you've touched on it twice now. Grade 11, something happened.
I think it did, for sure.
Did you get up on stage for something?
No,
did
just
you start
in class? Maybe
you're
it
quick.
was just a moment in time. Whether it's serendipity or God's will, who knows what happened? But there was just a shift, right? And that was a great moment in time. Definitely.
And so you have 2 options. So you go to Vic, or where'd you go?
I went to UVic.
Yeah.
My mom always said, I don't care what you take, just take something that gets your brain going and the completion, and finish it.
Yep.
And the friends you'll meet, and then you can apply that to anything you want. And
did you trust her that was a good idea?
You bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Like school you were like, okay,
it was very important.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm really glad. I did a geography co-op degree, and a myriad of things. Lived on a glacier in Alaska through University of Idaho for 2 months, and that was a great experience. Did co-op work terms on Salt Spring Island and Squamish, BC for the rec department of Ministry of Forests, and it was great.
So it kind of fit with how you grew up.
It did,
and just how you
definitely.
Yep.
Played a lot of rugby, which was fun. Played a high level rugby.
Oh, no way.
In first year university, our team we had a fabulous team that went on to do quite well. And the team. I did a lot of team sports.
Yep.
I enjoy that, and ultimately, near the end of my schooling, and UVic was great. Truly loved it, and that experience. And I had a girlfriend, and her family kind of helped me. I didn't do so well necessarily at the beginning, but near the end.
Just because you weren't interested, or you're just like there's too many things, too many inputs coming in.
Many inputs, and I was going to get a BSc, but then I'm also a very social person. And, I needed a calculus, but I tried it a couple times and I worked super hard, but it was so much work. It compromised my lifestyle, but I also knew in that moment in time, even though I was young, that it wouldn't change my trajectory, which was interesting.
How did you know that? Because to have that thought process at that age and that point,
I have no idea.
It's
it is interesting. Yeah.
Because that's a big, it's an important time
Those formative years.
Yeah.
It really is. And I have 2 kids. They're 19, 23 almost. And
they're right.
In about a month, my daughter turns 23. But I think it's more challenging. There's so much uncertainty. They were just back over the holidays, and little sidebar.
Love them.
Yeah. But the uncertainty now, I had that uncertainty, but then you compound that with, the last 2 years. And not that we're going to talk about that the whole time, but you throw a pandemic, it really does. For me, my experience in the friendships and everything that I fostered when I was there, Isaac, my youngest, he's like, I don't know if I'm going to do it this semester because if it's just online, he's in res. I think it's looking like it will be in person.
Yep.
But it's I really feel for this specific generation. I really do. There hasn't been that certainty where I had uncertainty, but I still knew that there was something on that other side.
Yep.
But it's, right now it's tricky times.
Yep.
Tricky times, So
were you on when you kind of knew that? Did it make you make different decisions? Did you were okay that this is just going to be temporary? This is just a moment in time. You could see what was really gonna.
I think you can see it. I think for me, I worked for the Ministry of Forests in Squamish. An amazing job. So north of Vancouver, designed trails, did like
No way.
just a remarkable. It was a remarkable job.
What
Paid a lot.
What was the role?
I was a recreation resort, like a recreation, resource person.
Yep.
Not a manager at that point in time, but I had a full-time job that paid well at a university.
So cutting trails.
Yeah,
Just always in the outdoors.
Interpretive stuff. Also in the office. So kind of, it was right when GIS and was coming out, like the Geographic Information Systems and stuff as well. And it was a great opportunity. Coming back to Halloween, we were in the office, about 100 people. I was the only one who dressed up. And I'm like, you need to have fun in your workplace. Mm-hmm. And I don't think people were having fun there. Mm-hmm. And even though, really important work, what's going on. But in that moment in time, one of my coworkers, Jeff, a couple of years older than me, he had like tenure there. He's like, do you want to cycle around Europe with my girlfriend, her sister, and another friend? I'm like, yes, I do. So I quit my job, put my stuff at a friend's house on Vancouver Island, and I've always cycled, and I got some panniers and did a 7-month. I was with them for about 3.5, and then did 3.5 months by myself and cycled all around Europe for 7 months.
Okay, so how wild, wild.
Yeah.
But how old are you when you did that?
I was 25.
So pretty young, and you had a pretty cool job.
I had a great job. Paid a lot. Security, amazing job. Look where I was. Squamish, Whistler, Pemberton. Come on.
Like the mecca of...
It was amazing. It aligned with everything that I love.
And like a quick conversation, you're like, I'm done. Let's go biking.
Yeah. Because it was that moment on Halloween. Just another reflection point, right?
You knew that there's a lot of good things about it, but just that culture, long term, or just
definitely
you couldn't see it.
And for me, one thing that over the last few years that I've identified, paperwork, I can get it done eventually. Mm-hmm. And I can tackle all these things. I'm a lifelong learner. Mm-hmm. I love learning. But, I'd say that, you really need to just adventure and like look for some of these opportunities that present themselves and just trust.
Which that makes a lot of sense to me. Is it blind trust, or is it trust that your life is aligned, that it's all supposed to happen this way based on what you believe in and what you've done in the past? Like, what allows you to just say trust it?
This is really interesting, Jeff.
What?
Because it's like right now.
You've got my brain rolling, so this is...
Likewise. And it's interesting because right now in this moment in time, nobody knows this is happening. And not to go way out there. Yeah. But like this, this will come out in about a month. Yeah. So all of a sudden we're having this conversation that you're recording. Yeah. And, but all of a sudden, you create this comfort and we're just kind of diving in and, I'm not 100% sure. But if we go back a little bit further, summer of end of first year, my birthday's in July, preparing a big party down at the river, and a tire blew on my brother's Pathfinder and flipped it like 5 times right near the house. And Albert and Selina Stoll, they were some neighbors, older couple, were maybe 300 meters behind me. Mm-hmm. And by the time they showed up, 5-10 seconds later or whatever, I was standing outside the vehicle. And, take it as you will, but ultimately, if you saw a photo of this Pathfinder, mm-hmm. there was no... some things are maybe unexplainable. Mm-hmm. And I'm standing outside this vehicle. Crushed. How did I get outside? They're like, where did you just come from? Because this accident had just happened. I'm not covered in like... I would have had to climb through these cracks and would have been covered in glass and cuts. Yep. I had like my ear and my shoulder was pretty banged up, but that's it. And, our lives are in this blip of time that we have on this planet. They're really momentary. And I'm a very in the moment drives my fiance Britta nuts. You know, she's more of a planner. But the history and where we are now, I do think about the future. Absolutely. But this moment with you and I right now, this is all that we have.
Yeah.
And I think that summer, was one of those moments that really shifted things for me. Yeah, however you want to try and explain it. But it's one of just those moments, right? And I'm sure you've had many of those in your life that brings us sitting across from one another, right? Like
when I look, it's to be at a point where you can look back and start connecting a bunch of dots.
Yeah.
Moments in time that happened, that when you finally get to a point, not the end point, but to a point, you can look back and just see, okay, then things start making more sense.
They do.
Because you're just like, okay, that experience led to this one, which then kind of caused me to go this way. And then it all makes sense, which not all the time, but it gets you on, it gives you confidence the path you're on is the way it's supposed to be.
I totally agree. Yeah.
It's really interesting.
It really is. And, you know, I kind of lost it there briefly, but a couple of years ago, like I'm a connector.
Yep.
I connect people, love people. And, you know, I think that's my life purpose. I really think it is.
Have you always known that? Or is this a new thing you've figured out?
It's always been there.
You've always done it.
But now I know that's
a thing.
You know, that's a thing.
Yep.
Hence, you know, came back from university and this cycling trip around Europe.
I want to go back to the cycling trip for two reasons.
Yeah.
So anyways, I'm going to drag you back there. You said you're into cycling.
Yeah.
You were, what does that mean? High school, university, you were just riding just because you loved it?
You know,
always had a bike, or was it always road, mountain?
The beginning of mountain biking. I bought a giant ATX 770, you know, and 1990, this really weird pink swirled, you know, it looks like, you know, when you put a drop of ink in oil. Yeah. That's what my bike frame is painted. And it's really cool. Hardtail, no suspension. And there was mountain biking on Mount Doug, like right out my back door in Victoria. Yeah. So we would go mountain biking. And then this bike then, you know, I then fitted with stuff.
Yep.
And biked around Europe, like started in Greece and Crete.
On this mountain bike?
Yeah.
On the like highways, gravel bikes?
Put some slicks on it. And they were a little fatter and had a little alligator horn that you could squeak, some kind of fun stuff. And then I also packed slide film, and one of my panniers was dedicated to my Canon camera. Cool. So I took slides, and you know, was in Delphi, and then from Brindisi in the heel of Italy, up Italy through France and Austria and Hungary and Czech, and it was
how many clicks?
Oh, I don't know, maybe 7,000.
Yeah.
In hindsight, that's probably not that many.
It's enough.
But it was, you know, I would take breaks. Sometimes I would shuttle my bike via the train. Yep. But there was, you know, I think that would be another podcast. Some of those stories, like, but I love the pace of cycling, you know? Yeah. It's good on your body. Yep. Not too hard on it. And people are more friendly. When you're in a car, there's that wall, you're separated by the doors and the windshield. Yep. Walking, it's quite slow. I'd love to maybe do the El Camino?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But I love cycling. And all types.
And when you bought that first bike, were you riding, like, do you ride a lot? Did you ride a lot?
No.
No. It was
like you
something you did.
People, my friends, you know, it's your peer groups, right? It's who you hang out with, right? Like I'm guessing we probably might hang out after this one time, right? Because you're just like, oh yeah, absolutely.
This makes sense.
I'll hang out with this person. Yeah. You know, they're part of my tribe, part of my group, right? And just like you know, I've got a barber, Steven. He's pretty cool. Went and got my haircut a couple days ago. He is. And he's a gem. Like he really is. But then, you know, you do this trip and then
what are you doing? Are you just kind of looking at a map and kind of figuring out where you want to go? Or are you taking it moment by moment and just like...
There were no phones.
And you just got to a place.
Maps.
You're like, okay,
and a book.
I'm going to eat here and sleep here and then wake up and then...
Yeah. You know, we would camp. We would do the odd hostel. And then... But people would bring you into their homes. It would happen every third day.
Yep.
Yeah.
They just see you guys doing
They would just see us, whether it was us as a group of... we were a group of 5 or or otherwise, when I was solo, they would just even more so. Yeah, it was spectacular.
That riding that bike, because an old school mountain bike is not really made for that kind of use.
Young body.
That's all it is. That was
Maybe, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I can't imagine. I think my very first mountain bike was I was in junior high, so it would have been kind of late 80s. My dad bought me a used Peugeot.
Cool.
It's like pink Peugeot.
Yep.
And then the second mountain bike he bought me was a Diamondback.
Love it.
So kind of same generation. And I can't imagine riding that for around Europe.
I know.
Because they're not set up to do it.
No, not at all. But I guess that's what, it's just the means, right? Yeah.
Could you do that now?
Yeah, definitely.
On an old school, like something that isn't like...
Oh, yeah. I even ride, like, my current bike is a older Thai Lightspeed. It's like 14 years old. And I've ridden carbon bikes and love this thing. It's got a carbon fork and, it's on my trainer right now. And, and I fat bike and mountain bike. But even my mountain bikes, it's old, like at least 10 years old. And it's a 26er. I've got...
26.
Yeah. But you know what? Use it up. Wear it out, right?
Yeah. Wear it.
Money's been pretty, I've got equity, but things have been pretty thin as an entertainer over the last couple of years, right?
Yep.
Tough times.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Because I came back from the bike trip.
That's where I was just going to go.
Okay. Yep. Bike trip. We had imported a lot of animals, and I was going to maybe take over the family farm and manage this alpaca herd.
Yep.
So we had 75 alpacas or some crazy thing. Mm-hmm. And
crazy's right.
Yeah. And then a buddy from university, Brad, we always would jest and play around at university. Never got paid for it. Somebody's like, can you do a show at the Red Deer Lake School? Like a magic show, juggling show. We're like, sure we can. Just with confidence. And so we designed a show.
Never done it.
And then worked together for, I don't know, a decade or more.
Around Southern Alberta?
We traveled North America.
Okay.
So we did.
What was the name of the act?
Originally, we were Zabo and Odlo. So his last name is Saville. Okay. So people at university would call him Zabo. Okay. And then I squeezed into an Odlo, a Norwegian cross-country ski suit one day at a thrift shop. So we became Zabo and Odlo.
No way.
Which was kind of fun. And then we wanted to elevate.
Yep.
We got to a point where we were like, you guys do a pretty good job.
Yep.
We'd MC, juggling around like Clive Bedeau of like WestJet in the good old days and with machetes. And we became the Wild Rosinis. So Wild Rose, like that Alberta.
Yep.
And Rosini, the Italian. And Wild, you're not sure what you might get. So we did that. We had a great time.
For a decade.
For a decade.
And all word of mouth? Just kind of like people,
pretty much.
You do an event, there'd be 250 people there.
Definitely.
All of a sudden, 2 months later, I saw you at this thing, and
sure.
Would you do this?
We had business cards and word of mouth, and we did a lot of fairs and festivals, a lot of corporate.
Yep.
Very, luckily, somebody had nominated us, won Entertainer of the Year in Canada.
No way.
Through Canadian Event Industry Awards. So that was super cool.
Wow.
Which just, it's just a thing, but it's one of those things. It's a validation that just helps you know that you're on the right path, right?
Yep.
So it's good, but it's like, and then we ended up going separate ways, and
because it just kind of ran its course.
Yeah, it did.
Or did you have? Was there something else lurking in your mind that you wanted to accomplish, or was it just time, right time, right place to go?
You know what? Brad initiated it, and maybe it was just the right time. We had, we spent a lot of time together.
Like how many days a year would you travel?
Oh my goodness! Like during Stampede, there were some days we were doing 13 shows a day. Oh yeah, and
exhausting.
Yeah, it was amazing though. It was
the energy, just like
it was amazing because, to be able to share that enthusiasm and what we do and still do is, really ephemeral, right? And lots of times we can walk away with something.
Yep.
But with, the live entertainment and the live arts, it's super ephemeral, but I think it's really a necessity, And I think going back to Strathcona Tweedsmuir School, they did a really good job of balancing the academia, the physical education, and the arts. Maybe not quite perfect. But for me, it really really that balance,
Yep.
help keep perspective, right?
Mhm.
And I say that lots, but I'm always trying to keep perspective. And let me tell you, I'm a messy human. I'm not
Mhm.
by no means. Over the last many years, I'm wanting to be more vulnerable with my friends and family, and
Yep.
it kind of bugs some people too, even people that I don't know. But that vulnerability, I think, is we're all going through different things, right?
Mhm.
And I think that live entertainment and this shift of where I'm going now,
Yep.
you know, it's an important place to
For
be,
sure.
right?
Yep.
That vulnerability, you know.
Well, it's a big change. It's a shift in kind of how you operate, which
It is.
which is that's can be concerning.
Yeah, and holding stuff close, like, of course we can,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
I love the Stoic philosophers. What are those things that like Marcus Aurelius?
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know. Do you?
I know that name, dude.
Yeah.
I don't read anything. I don't
Yeah.
I don't consume anything, which
That's
is
good.
ridiculous.
I love that. You just consume.
What? I don't do anything. I literally get to sit here with super cool people, ask them a couple of questions, and listen to their story. It's such a mind twist because I don't have to do anything, which is why I love this.
Which is your gift.
Totally.
There you go.
That what I find fascinating is like hearing the story for the first time is how you go from, working in a cool job in BC,
Yeah.
in the outdoors, going on a bike trip, potentially taking over a farm to being a live entertainer for a
know.
decade.
Yeah.
Was that entertainment possibility always lurking in your mind? Were you like, I think there's something I want to do here?
Oh, definitely.
So you were
Like I say now, I was born that way for
No way.
sure.
Mm.
Right.
Did you know that you could pull it off for a decade?
Well, and then I continue to do it. And still, actually, unfortunately, like January 15th, big show at the Banff Springs, produced a big event for a client, but they've just put it on hold.
Yeah.
My last event before that was June 25th, the big one down at Hotel Arts with, running a really nice First Nations component with an elder and a prayer and an opening, just, resonating with, a little bit of reconciliation and just awareness. And then shifting to, I got to MC it, and this client purchased all the rooms. So it was their first actually balcony event at Hotel Arts.
Cool.
We had a 20 by 30 foot big monitor that everybody looked down on, and had fire performers and cirque performers and illusionists and magicians and a myriad of entertainment. And it was spectacular. And I think everybody just appreciated it so much.
Well, that time, yeah.
Like
yeah.
more than ever now.
Yeah, totally.
Like just to see you.
Yeah.
We don't see
I know.
people, even if you're an introvert, I have many friends that are introverts that miss people. Right?
Yeah.
Because it was a choice before.
Yeah.
But now it's like, oh,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So what you're up to right now is, are you kind of putting events together, or are you actually like on stage doing performances, or what's your
I'll still
thing?
perform. I forgot a deck of cards. I'm a skilled magician. I can borrow your watch and give it back. And, juggler and an MC.
Yep.
But I love producing events and creating. And then that shift of from there was a natural shift to this project that's going on out in Bragg Creek over the last 5.5 years, the Laskin. I didn't name it that. It was originally Bragg Creek Brewery. And, if we're kind of bringing things together, got 4 really good friends, and our boys were all the same age.
Yep.
And we would go mountain biking out in Bragg Creek, and two of my friends, Bryce and Troy, we built a connector between West Bragg and Allenville on the DL like 14 years ago.
Okay.
Because there was nothing connecting it. And so we built Sugar Mama and Strange Brew. And just before we sat down, you showed me a picture.
Yeah. So this is the funny part. So my kid brother, him and his fire crew are crazy bikers.
Yeah.
And so I told Keith, I said, hey, I got Baruch on the show. He's like, and I said, I think he's like a big biker. He's big, big in the community out in Bragg. He's like, yeah, Baruch's Corner.
There you go.
So explain what that is out in Bragg.
So Baruch's Corner, my friends named it, but ultimately we were building everything by hand. Bow saws, pruners.
Just because because that connector, you could see how cool it would be to connect them. Is that why you started doing the work?
We did. But at the same time, we're locals, and there's also sometimes a proper way to do it through the proper avenues. And I actually still sit on Bragg Creek Trails board.
Okay.
And it's amazing.
When you say proper, did you guys do it properly back then?
We built the trails properly, but we never asked for permission.
Gotcha.
So, but we just used old game paths, right?
Right.
And then we would hike up, and Brug's Corner was like at the highest point. There was lots of blowdown up there, and we were scouting out one day, and each of us are kind of the chefs, if you will, right?
Yep.
And I just took a little bit more of a backseat role. At least this is my recollection.
Okay.
Each of their recollection is probably different.
and it doesn't matter because
This is my experience,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And, their stories are totally different, I'm sure. But and I'm like, we should come out to this little view, this vista.
Mm-hmm.
And for my 40th, they give me a plaque, Baruch's Corner. It's been coveted a few times, and that sign gets torn down. And,
No way.
And it's a wonderful little spot. And there's even a little beer cache up there hidden in the ground. A few people know about.
Yeah, the people that know.
Yeah. So take a beer, you got to put it back.
How much time did you spend on those trails?
My goodness. Well, hundreds of hours.
Were you like way into biking when you decided to start breaking trails in there?
Definitely. Just started to get into it. I had a big downhill bike. I compressed my front fork. My brother my younger brother Lee set me up with a bike. Okay. And there's more cross country trails out there. Yep. But
so you were like way into biking at this point?
Starting to.
Okay.
Right at the beginning. I had just moved out to Bragg Creek or Redwood Meadows.
Yep.
And that's the spot and then kids would be in school. We would go build trails.
Because it was early back then, like 14 years. Like that was.
Oh yeah.
Like the parking lot was little and like.
Parking lot was little. Maybe there was like 70K of all season trails. Now there's almost 200 kilometers.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
It is crazy.
So you and the boys cut in this connector?
Yeah. And then it was used by just a handful of people for about 6 years.
Because there wasn't many people out there, or because you had to know that it was the thing?
Yeah, and there just wasn't as many people. And we would then do road trips to like Bend, Oregon. Have you ever been to Bend?
No.
Highly recommend it.
Mecca of?
It's, a town of about 100,000 people. But for me, I say it's like kind of a place where you can have great beer, great food, great conversation, and great riding. And it's just a culmination of that. And it brings all of that together. And it's you eat at a restaurant and you're like, I want to eat here every night. But if you go across the road, it's going to be equally as great.
Yep.
And I'm like, Bragg Creek needs this. So that always started swirling around, and I wanted to try something new, like this learning. And I wanted to learn how to make great cheese, chocolate, beer, and coffee personally. So
and just the random. Those are just
random.
Those are things that you enjoyed. And you're like, I need to eventually I want to figure out how to do this.
Well, they're all pretty great things.
Well, no, they're unbelievable.
Yeah, and I didn't start drinking coffee till a car project. About 15 years ago.
What kind of car?
It's an old 68 E-Type. That was my grandmother's.
No way.
We used to race around in this old thing, and when I was 4 years old, she bought it after her husband passed away in 73. And I think she bought it in 74. We used to play around with it at the farm in Springbank.
Cool.
Which is ridiculous. And then I fixed it up for my grad. It was ridiculous. Right. Then rebuilt it again,
you
about
still have
15 years. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. It's kind of a cool car. It's fun. Got lots of patina. And oh man,
you're just gonna clear
check it out. Oh, it's awesome.
Cool.
It smells like 50 years old. It's amazing, right?
Interesting.
Oh yeah.
So you're spending a lot of time in Bragg. Obviously, you're invested in the community.
Yeah, and then I'm now on a few years pass. I was on 6 boards. Community's super important. Super important.
And then you're kind of traveling around. You go to that bike trip and you could see the pieces that you want to put together.
And you could see Bragg Creek was waning, this community, it was everything, people would start a project. And there was, but it has this really unique vibe, so close. Like literally takes me 30 minutes to get here.
Mm-hmm.
But yet it seems like you're going back in time when you go there.
Yep.
And I'm not sure if I've been to Cinque Terre, which is like these 5 cities on the coast of Italy.
Okay.
And it was only accessible by boat up until about 150 years ago. And what they did was, it's now like this heritage site. And you can now walk between the cities. Highly recommend you go check it out. More walls than the Great Wall of China there. All this terracing. It's amazing. But you have the people going about their lives, but then you also have the tourists. And it's this real nice blend of both. So you could, and I don't know if that will ever happen. This is the vision I have.
Mm-hmm.
And as we're getting closer to this moment in time with us sitting here, the Rocky View County had said, oh, we're going to try and make it more of a hamlet core commercial. Saw a property right on the river. I was looking for a business partner, a buddy from that my youngest brother knew at University of Victoria, Adam, became my first business partner. And then we bought that property.
Where is it? Where is it in relation to Bragg?
Oh, it's so good.
Like
You're
prime?
gonna love it. So
I can't wait, man.
Driving through town.
Yep. Hit the stop sign.
Yeah. Driving through town just before you cross the bridge to go to Wintergreen or West Bragg.
Okay.
It's on your right-hand side.
On the right.
Didn't flood in 2013, which is crazy. Just right on the river.
And to the left is like the main strip, kind of like.
Yeah. There's you pass the main malls.
Yep.
And then
yours is on the right.
On the right. So that's
on the river.
Right on the river. You know,
how big's the chunk of land?
You know, it's about 2/3 of an acre.
Cool.
But we have a great concept. So the concept, it's a
dude, I'm pumped about this.
It's a boutique inn, craft brewery, restaurant, and spa, all under one roof. And sounds like a lot, but they're all these complementary businesses. You know, it's one of the things in Bend, Oregon, the McMenamins properties. You would have freshly ground coffee at your door at night.
Cool.
And that was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's just a click.
So I would have brought you coffee, but I asked you, you said you've never had coffee.
Never.
And I was going to try and make that the whole show, but no.
So
yeah.
Were you subconsciously taking these little moments from these different places and knowing that you'd put your own thing together one day?
Absolutely. Definitely. I didn't know, I don't think all of a sudden it just clicks. You know how something just clicks with a person, a relationship, and the relationship with Bragg Creek, the community, trailhead community, and how can you contribute?
The trailhead community for you, you know, me being like sitting in this position, and I'm looking at it as like a marketing opportunity. And because of how ingrained you are in the biking community, it makes so much sense that they're going to come down and be able to enjoy something that you've built.
Well,
there's a lot of connection points there.
And it's, and money's a strange thing.
Yes.
For sure it is. But for me, it's not the be all end all. It's really important. And like things are challenging right now, without a doubt. But in this near future, even despite COVID, despite everything, I think there's always gifts. There just is. And I can see that. And I think we've got 21 boutique rooms, a little smaller, curated.
2-story, 3-story, what is it?
It's 3 stories.
Okay.
So 21 rooms. We've got a small brew house. So 10 hec. And the vision is primarily all the beer. You come to Bragg Creek Brewery, to the Laskin.
So no
shelf space.
And can you get the Laskin brews anywhere else? You got to come.
I would say
right
now
10 hex.
I'm only one of 4. I'll be the managing partner. But the vision, I would say, is like, you know, come that experience, that journey, if you will, right? Travel, come to the Laskin, stay the night, if you will, get to know your neighbor, and it's going to be a space where, you know, a gathering space, you know, a third space, not your place of work, not your home, but where you can sit with someone and have these really authentic, vulnerable conversations. And it's not for everyone, but I think maybe the more we have them, the more we connect, possibly, because it's been maybe taboo for so long. And then you have, you know, some great food, spa piece, you know, maybe some some hot tubs, maybe an onsen.
Yep.
It's the Japanese style.
Cool.
And we'll see what all those pieces that will come together. So the concept's great. And right now we've been 5 years into it. We got all of our approvals 2 years ago, but we paused for when COVID hit.
Yep.
And there's a gift in that. And I think in doing so through COVID, one of my co-founders is John Jackson from the Char Group, like Char Cut, Char Bar.
Cool.
Super grateful to have him be a team member.
And how'd you connect with him?
So
I'm sure you knew him from somewhere.
No, I didn't.
What?
So Adam, first co-founder, and then I knew I didn't want to do this alone. The highs and the lows.
Yep.
And I don't know how people do some of these big projects by themselves. But, Adam, a polymath like myself, devours lists and just a gem. His wife's a professional project manager and she's integrated in this. Then my daughter came home from school in grade 9 is like, my history teacher, Mr. Bodner, we're not allowed to follow him on social media, but he's pretty cool. And I think he'd be great for your project, Dad. I'm like, what?
Nice.
So, and Kirk's amazing. I love Kirk.
Local out there?
Yeah, he's a teacher actually at STS at Strathcona. And he's amazing. He was one of Alberta's first cicerones, like the sommelier of beer.
No way.
And Charcut's first employee. And he did their pairing menus with beer and food. And Kirk finally became a part of it. And then Kirk's like, I've got a buddy that I went to junior high with from Regina. His name's John. He's interested. And I was busy interviewing John, and John was kind of interviewing me. We didn't know each other. I don't think I've ever even told John this. It's really funny though, right? Because you're trying to get a sense of it. And if you've been to Char Bar, I go in that space, and it's amazing. It just has a great feeling. And then, John's fabulous. He's a cyclist. He only cycles everywhere. Doesn't have a driver's license.
No way.
Yeah.
So again, like that I like to loop back to the cycling piece because it's a big connector.
And for me as well, for sure.
To find somebody that cycles and B has the restaurant back, like
oh yeah,
it doesn't get any better, does it?
It doesn't. And so now we've got these 4 co-founders. Kirk's wife's an accountant, a CA.
Yep.
John's wife's a lawyer. My fiance, she's a commercial photographer and on that branding side. So, and then it goes beyond that. It's the full community, and we're just at that investment point right now.
Okay.
We have some great investors. We'll be breaking ground late summer, hopefully.
That's the rough timeline.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Cool.
I feel like a Larry David episode. I'm like having to curb my enthusiasm my entire the last 4 years. You think,
which is a long time to put this together, right?
It's 10% of my life. I was thinking about that the other day, but it's been worth it. Yeah.
So paint me the picture of what this place looks like.
Well,
have you have drawings yet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So paint me because I'm I've been in the restaurant industry for 18 years.
Okay.
I DJ'd in nightclubs and worked in nightclubs, worked for a restaurant group for a decade. So anyways, that's why I want you to paint this so I can kind of see what's going to be.
So you arrive and ultimately, say you're staying the night, there'll be some, some of these lessons learned through COVID. So online check-in, but maybe the person who's serving you your pint will also check you into your room.
How many square feet?
We're about 12,000 square feet amongst all floors.
And is it like an L, a U, or was it like?
It's more rectangular.
Okay.
But there's 2 beautiful patios, 60 seats each, overlooking the river.
Cool.
Going to be gorgeous. And then we'll see. Maybe I'd love a rooftop patio.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, 2. We've got 60 seats inside.
Yep.
And 2 3-4 season 60-seat patios.
Yep.
It's it will be what Bragg Creek needs. We want to see it as like a keystone, the Bragg Creek Trading Post, right?
Yep.
That family, the Techmeyers, have been there since the beginning, and they are remarkable. And if there can be something that helps support the community, this is what it's about. They're not going to eat at our place every single night.
Yep.
They're going to cruise around the community. Yet to be decided. Maybe we don't have TVs in the rooms.
Yep.
encouraging people to get into the common space, get out walking through the hamlet of Bragg Creek and out on the trails. Being the TCT, the Trans-Canada Trail, comes right through there, and it will be paved by the end of next year, all the way to the trailhead.
No way.
And beyond. So, interpretive trails, fat biking, cross-country skiing, mountain biking, trail running, all of these pieces that if you're an avid cyclist, you can go do it, but bring your family.
Yeah.
Just go explore, get outside. And I think it's one of the gifts of this pandemic. People, you can't find a bicycle.
Can't get a bike.
Can't find a bike. So you've got all of these pieces, and hey, I just remembered.
Yes, I know. I was just gonna say. So crack it.
Yeah,
because you need something.
Well, I did ask you.
But I'll have one too, please.
This is Alberta.
So tell the story quickly of what the connection to these beers.
Oh,
just because the word alignment is top of mind for me.
Yeah,
and the alignment of just you're moving the right way in the world. And so when you come in and tell me the story about this connection,
it's crazy.
It just speaks to why we're aligned right now.
Well, cheers, l'chaim, hey, to life.
Yeah. Thank you.
So
that's good.
This is out of BC, 33 acre, and this is a dry hop pill. It's really delicious, and we are so lucky. Like in town, the establishment, brewery of the year in Canada, our beer culture here, and I had to quickly run in because I was like, what do you like?
Do you like coffee?
Do you like coffee? You're like, no. I'm like, I have a beautiful Ethiopian Gucci I just roasted. You're like, I was like, how about beer? And you said a lager or, like a Pilsner.
Yep.
So this one I knew. So it is Canadian. It's a local craft beer. And I love this one. But as I was in there, like, an hour and a half ago, they're like, what's going on, Baruch? Know them a little bit. And
you can plug them. Where were you?
Rocky Mountain.
Okay.
Rocky Mountain Liquor, right by Chinook Center. And Sarah wasn't in. The other co-owner, Michael. I don't know Michael, but they've been so kind to me and threw me in the system. And ultimately, I was like, oh, I actually have to go. I have to grab a beer for. I got nominated for this. Super grateful for this Calgary session. They're like, he was just in here just like 2 days ago. He does lots of our branding. I was like, of course Jeff does. And this is like that syncopation or being auspicious or maybe just where, the energy that we all have. Yeah, that energy. And you will, it's just the way of the world.
It's so it's just so cool. The chances of that happening are zero.
There's a lot of liquor stores in Calgary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there are. And I only stumbled across them about a year ago. And anyway,
they're awesome people.
Yeah, I know.
So
you probably know more than me.
Well, I got hooked up through my buddy Jason Jensen, another restaurant guy. So anyways, just good people connecting good people.
But I think that's what it's about. And like,
that little example, what you're building and what you're about to build in Bragg, like if those connections start happening, those like circumstances start happening, it'll be a really cool spot. And I think just based on the culture out there, the bike culture, whether it's fat bike, mountain bike, skiing, trail running.
Yeah.
I think there's gonna be a lot of interesting stories being told in that room.
There will. And I look forward to that.
Super cool.
I actually envision it like a theater. It's an experience, right? It really is. And when people come through that door, there will be great food and great beer, but it's that experience. And as I left, some of these places in the Northwest US, these small little towns or, a little bit bigger in Bend, and you're like, you've got to go there because of this, and this. This is exactly what I hope to help facilitate in Bragg and connect people. Because ultimately it's all that we have. When you travel, you have photos, but all the stuff, it's just stuff.
Yep.
cars take you from A to B. It doesn't matter
Yep.
if it's a Ferrari or a Honda Civic, right? They're still A to B.
Yep.
So, so where do you get that, through the mindfulness, where's that fulfillment and the connection? And I think those relationships are really important, right? Who are those people you can stop in on upon your travels as we, probably travel more locally. And, for me, I think one of the biggest things, even through this, is some of the great people I met. So through John, I'm not a chef,
I was going to ask you about which is perfect, like dovetail, but just, talk to me about, your passion for beer and your passion for food. And if you're like going after something, or it's just passion from the outside, or what do you?
Well, a couple things there. Through COVID, my income went from here to zero. No live events, right? Oh my goodness.
I know.
So I have a fat bike, live in Redwood Meadows. There was a dump of snow. We had just got a snow dog. A couple of neighbors had proposed to the Redwood Meadows Community Association. And the exercise for our mental health, super important, especially through this.
Yep.
And being able to talk about it, because it's tough. Like, you and I were not alone. Like, our whole planet is going through this. And, a little bit more money definitely helps, but you're still going through all like the mental side.
Yep.
And being able to get outside, really, really important. And, so I'm there, and, one of the things I coined years ago, I don't know, instead of random acts of kindness, my kids are tagging along. I'm like, how about conscious acts of kindness? This is a book, my list is long, but how about conscious acts of kindness, right? So I dove into sourdough, and I got some sourdough from a prophet, University of Calgary that I know, Greg. Came from one of his students from Germany. I'm not sure if it came from Germany. I think possibly.
Yep.
And it's a beautiful rye starter. Dove in pretty hard. Resourced a few bakers and chefs that I know.
Is that your move to go in, like when you decide to go in, you're like all in?
I am.
Like
for sure.
Whatever you're up to.
Yeah,
it's just like
absolutely.
You're head first, you're in.
Yeah, you bet.
Okay.
And I love it. And so dove into the sourdough, found, created my own little recipe. So it's 3/4 strong flour, quarter whole wheat, and I proof it for about 24 hours, sometimes 48.
Yep.
Got a loaf for you here.
Yeah, I'm tearing into
pull
it
it
tonight.
I do though. I'm not.
Show
gonna touch
it.
No, you got to pull it out. Or here, I'll pull it.
Yeah,
out.
you pull it. You made it.
Here. So this.
Put it right on top of this.
This is honestly. So this is the ear.
Yep.
So this. Honestly, it's even if you're gluten free, I've got a few friends, because it's fermented. I think actually people are actually allergic to the yeast, to commercial yeasts. Because I've got a neighbor, she's a chef. She breaks out in hives. She devoured half a loaf the other day. Another neighbor. So sourdough.
I'm salivating, by the way.
Yeah. Oh well, you know what?
No, I don't want to do it now because it'll be like.
I dove into. I bought a smoker because a friend from who lives in
The last 2 years you bought a smoker?
No, this is like my first smoking. So I made you.
When did you buy the smoker?
Like a month ago.
Oh, okay. So you're just about to go head first in?
Oh, I did.
Okay.
And I smoked. Did you know a jalapeno once smoked becomes a chipotle?
Nope.
Either did I. I smoked some habaneros. So this is an aioli.
Yep.
Over Christmas, there was 5 friends over, and we ate 2 cups of mayo. So if you want to increase your mayo intake,
That's your move.
a full chipotle, half a lemon. I smoked some Russian garlic,
Amazing.
and that's for you, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And so I started making 2 loaves a day,
The conscious acts. Go back to that.
and I gave away. So I probably in the last 2 years, I probably made 600-700 loaves.
Yep.
And I've just given them away randomly.
All over Redwood, into Bragg.
Everywhere. Into Calgary.
Okay.
If I'm buying
Yep.
I also export Mitsubishi Delicas to the United States. Just a little
what?
side hustle.
What's that?
They're like those right-hand drive Japanese vans.
Okay. Yeah.
So a brother and I, we buy them, fix them up,
Yep.
paint them, mechanically inclined, and then we import them to the United States and then
way.
resell them.
Crazy.
So, sometimes I'll bring one when I purchase one, and
So this is 600 to 700,
probably,
like a lot.
yeah.
So everywhere you go,
Yeah.
you're the bread man.
I don't know.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And
So is there a play with your spot in Bragg? Is there anything that you're like?
John says no.
Okay.
John's like, I will invest in your ice cream sandwich business,
Yeah.
your cheese business,
Yeah.
your sourdough, your donut, Baruch. But he's like,
This is no
the
go.
Laskin is the hotel and spa.
Yep.
And he's like, I'll invest in your other businesses. So,
Go to the name for a second. The Laskin.
so we
you
went
t- you
through a
touched on it.
renaming about a year ago.
Okay, so project starts. It's called what?
It was called Bragg Creek Brewing Company.
Okay.
And then shifted to Bragg Creek Brewery.
Okay.
Because it encompasses a
Yep.
little bit more, we
Yep.
felt. But we've always seen multiple locations. So Bragg Creek will be the first.
Okay. Cool.
There might be one, let's say, in Tofino.
Okay.
Revelstoke,
Yep.
Soyuz,
Yeah.
Bend, Oregon.
I was just gonna say it.
Hood River.
Yeah.
Bozeman. Bozeman's got a great vibe in Montana.
Yeah.
So we went through this naming process of the lodge. There's a
four of you?
criterium. Yeah.
Okay.
And we use this proper, we went through a proper branding exercise, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then John's like, we need to be able to get the URL. Is there a story?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Can you spell it?
Yes.
Can you remember it?
Yep.
And John's like, the Laskin. And it was the Laskin Lodge, actually, originally, and then we shortened it.
Yep.
And
Good choice.
they're like,
It's perfect.
John's like, you're the mayor of Bragg Creek, Brooke.
Dude, it's perfect.
You like it?
It is perfect.
Oh, you like it?
I love it. I love it because it's it's scalable, to your idea of going
Yeah.
wherever you want.
Mm-hmm.
That because of who you are, and you are and now that I know what's it the non-mayor, the mayor who, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
for sure.
and because like your history and all of it, it makes so much sense. And it's not narcissistic. It's not weird to have your name on the door.
It was at first.
Well, of course it is, because when you roll around and
Yeah.
and you're not trying to shine the light on yourself.
This is about everyone else.
I know,
It's
but-
the rule of the stage.
Yes.
It's like about making everyone else look great.
Totally.
But
It's a
yeah.
killer name.
Well, thank you.
It's got a ring to it, especially in that
Mm-hmm.
in that atmosphere out there.
It will work well.
Yes.
We're excited.
I can't wait to see the branding.
We have we've been courted by many branding companies locally. We'll go with someone local.
Yep.
Do you do branding?
No,
Maybe
no.
we might have to chat.
Well, it's a combination of being our good friend.
Rob
Yes.
Sawchuk, who just opened a brewery.
Yes.
Border
Well,
City?
Yeah, he launched a beer. Yeah.
Launched a beer.
Yeah, Border City.
Yeah, right? In Lloydminster.
So like, yeah.
He's my neighbor. He lives... So this is the small world.
And by the way, Rob was episode 1 of the Calgary Sessions.
I know.
Rob did my branding for both companies.
Yeah.
And Rob doesn't know, I think, potentially that
I know.
us two are sitting down. So the cool thing about this is Rob's going to listen to it, and he deserves all the appreciation that he gets. And it's going to be really cool that his damn neighbor in Redwood Meadows.
I can... No, neighbor, meaning like I look out my window and I can see his house.
It's like the morning in your
Him and
house
Jackie-
robe. Like,
No,
morning.
really. It's...
So this would be really cool. So
I love it.
yeah,
So this is what I love about life.
yeah. And what do you think it is though? Like the connector to you and me was Laval.
Yeah.
And there's the connection of Rob. There's the connection to the Delights. Like there's all these connections.
Oh yeah, the critical mass.
So now that you and I are here, though, how do we get here? What's the explanation? Is there one?
There doesn't need to be.
No, there doesn't need to be, but it's just it doesn't occupy any of my brain power. It's very interesting that how you start aligning with like-minded people.
I believe you also attract it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you create a space like this, like I feel, and I've spoke in front of tens
You're a
of thousands
professional.
of people.
You're a professional.
I am, but I still get nervous.
Yeah.
And I was briefly this morning. I was a little bit nervous.
Yep.
Which is good.
Yep.
And I can usually translate that into being like calm, like I'm not sweating too much.
Yeah.
And but you've created a space that is welcoming and warm, and like I feel so comfortable right now. And So it's you're grounded, so you give that off. So then, even though my brain's all these
running,
everything's just going.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's why it was great being part of a duo, because I would be on stage and Brad would then align my thoughts and then people would chuckle. No. But yeah, so I think the more you put it out there, the more you attract it.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
It. Yeah.
So the Laskin will be that.
I love that name. Like it really, like it's
good.
I'm in on it. I'm like, I don't go to Bragg a lot because I don't spend.
You will though.
Oh, I will.
And you'll stay, and you will have the best night's sleep.
Yeah.
And great. So this is pretty fun.
Like rooms looking at the river.
Yeah.
Like the prime rooms. Yeah,
there's
look
some
down.
prime rooms overlooking the river, and then I think the time is really good right now. Some people are like, maybe not, but we're in our investment round. We're closing in on halfway there.
Cool.
Which is super cool. But
yes, we'll talk about that off camera.
Yeah, we can. But like, one of our investors is like, you need to have a room called the Doghouse, where it's only for locals. Can't believe I'm saying this out loud, mate. We'll have to see if you put this on.
Well, I don't edit, so be careful what you say.
Oh, really?
No, man.
I don't care. Whatever. Anyway, the Doghouse is a room just for locals that you can buy one day, just like a timeshare, and there's 30 days for one of the rooms.
Cool.
And many of the wives as well and the partners are like, count me in on the Doghouse. So it's a place where you could go in a room, get out of the house, and you stay the night. But we also have a basement. And I was thinking about it. We were joking the other day that the Doghouse room is actually in the basement, and there's like a trap door just below like the tap heads where like a trap door comes, and you just passed out a beer. Oh my God, there's so many. It'd be so fun.
It's gonna be really cool.
So yeah, like
you're pumped.
I am pumped. And then so there's all these pieces. So I've been a coffee roaster for 4 years. Moose Mountain Coffee.
Are you just coming up with these like these things you're passionate about, and you're like, I need to figure this out?
Oh yeah,
that's kind of your.
It is. It's the way I was raised.
Okay.
If we go way back, about 60 minutes probably now at least. Yeah. So we go way back, and then to this moment in time, I'm like, I want to. So Phil and Seb have been great mentors. The Monogram crew, like Jeremy, STS grad, they're like world champion baristas, like in Calgary.
And you have a connection to obviously the STS guy.
Yeah, and then Phil and Seb out of the Simmons building.
Okay,
and then some intelligentsia, a good buddy of my brother's out of the States came up, and
cool. So you're into it.
Oh yeah, and the coffee it's on point.
Are you selling it anywhere, or are you just dropping it off to like?
It's interesting because things have been thin, and my co-founders. Because everything is about timing.
Yes.
I'm going to take the coffee as my own. So it was Moose Mountain, and
that's what it's called.
Moose. It was, but you know what? By the time this comes out, I'm pretty sure it'll be Nomad Coffee. Awesome. I'm nomadic. I really am. I'm like a nomad.
Wow.
And coffee from around the world.
Yeah.
And, maybe a subscription where you get a couple coffees and you actually don't even know what you're getting.
Yep.
So.
Yeah,
it's dialed in. I say I'm a 2.50. Not third wave, but great notes, sweet, delicious, and even people who don't drink coffee.
I don't mind the smell when you're waking up and somebody's like brewing a cup. I don't mind waking up to that.
You'd love it,
but I will not. It's almost to a point now where I'm just not gonna ever have it because I'm gonna be that guy.
That's like John. And he'll never have a driver's license. He's always said that.
Crazy.
But my guess is John will be driving you drinking your first cup of coffee.
The good thing about that is all on camera.
Oh no!
So if it ever happens, it'll be like there's like a timestamp to this.
Well, so this is an interesting anecdote. Like in Parisians, like in Paris, who are black tea drinkers, drink Ethiopian coffees because they drink like a black tea. And do you drink tea? Oh, you don't.
Nope.
Okay. Well, let's move on. You do drink this.
This I will never say no to.
There you go.
Yeah.
So we've got
Nomad
coffee coming out. Yeah. We've got all these things
You feeling in a good spot right now?
Oh yeah.
Like energy's up and like things are like
overall, yes.
Yeah.
And there's stuff with like relationships with like brothers
Yep.
and children and my fiance and everybody else that it's not perfect.
Yep.
Absolutely. But overall, I'm an eternal optimist, and things are neither good nor bad. They are, what are the things that are within my control, right? I can focus on the negative, but I can't change those.
Yep.
And I can't change another person. And, I've got my couples therapist, the ones with my children, my own personal one.
Yep.
Just, I go see my physio, I go see my massage therapist, all those pieces. And I need to like keep myself healthy.
Yep.
So, hopefully I can resonate a good energy and create good spaces. And, which is the bread thing. And with John, there's I need to talk about this. This is really important. The cycling, it'll bring it together. Chef's cycle for No Kid Hungry. So it's this, I always dedicate a big chunk of my time in my life to community outreach, kids, our youth, they're our future.
Yep.
So Chef's Cycle for No Kid Hungry is an Australian founded it out of Santa Rosa, California. And so basically money is raised and programs are developed to feed children, like childhood hunger, right? So $1 raised equals 10 meals. It's amazing. So this May will be my 5th ride with Chef's Cycle. It's been canceled. We've done rides locally, like with Justin LeBeau in this space here, who's now in Banff, and Matt Beatty and John, and we've got a group called the Canadians now.
Cool.
Bob Bloomer, who's out of the States. Bob's awesome. Many others. And
What's the ride?
What's that?
What is the?
So the ride is 3 fondos. So a fondo is 100 miles or 162 kilometers, back to back to back. So it's tough. Like you just can't. Many people don't finish, so you have to train.
Yep.
And then we each raise about $7,500 US.
Yep.
Some of the money stays here. Lots of it goes there, but it doesn't matter where a child is. There should be no discrimination. And the people I've met through this community of food has been remarkable. And that coupled with bicycles. I'm just like, I don't even know where to go. And even, it's, we're really excited about it for this year. Hopefully it happens again. It's in Santa Rosa this year.
Okay.
And 2 years ago, it was supposed to be in Bend, Oregon, of all places. I was like, "Oh, this is
Day two. Day two might get rough."
Yeah.
Is it the same 100 miles, or is it 3 different 100 miles?
Three days, 3 different 100 miles.
Okay.
And
how many guys are on this team?
There's men and women. Or on the Canadians, we have this year. We probably have about 15 that will be riding.
Brad? You know Brad Morrison?
Brad is not riding.
You know he is. Justin's buddy.
Yes. But Brad did not.
Okay.
Yeah, Brad did not. Justin, yes.
Okay.
That was random.
Yep.
Who's Brad with again?
Brad Morrison's Concord Group.
Oh, yes, he is.
So Justin, obviously,
that's right.
Yep.
That's correct. So
are you riding all year then to prepare for this?
To do 3? Definitely. Actually starting basically the new year, because otherwise your muscles are like, I don't like you on day 3. And it's not a race, but at the same time, I think
160K is
one day.
I know.
So then it's like
substantial.
It is. So
are you gonna get a new bike for that at least, or one that's like current?
No, you know what?
You're gonna ride some old Duster?
I love my old Thai Lightspeed, and
no way.
Is
it carbon or what is it?
No, it's titanium.
Oh,
it's a Thai.
Yes,
it's old titanium.
And you're gonna ride that for
you bet
160 times 3.
Yeah.
Holy
and
shit.
It's great. It's nothing fancy. It's got a middle of the road Grupo on it, like but for me, it's like once again those connections and being able to, a couple things. One, I think you talk about alignment and putting it out there. I was looking at, I have an on-wheel trainer.
Yep.
Those days inside on a trainer, they're hard. There's no brakes. It's like 25% more work than, because you can coast hills and stuff. And you can't just fat bike or do other stuff. You need to spin. You need to get your legs moving.
Just the cadence.
So anyway, I was looking at maybe upgrading my on-wheel trainer. It touches like this thing and it locks in.
Yep.
And they're spendy.
Oh,
They're like
yeah, dude.
$1,500.
Yeah.
Or somewhere around there. But I reached out to Saris. They're out of Madison, Wisconsin. And because I found a used one locally. And then I was like, hey, why don't I talk to their partnership group?
Yep.
And Anne was like, let me get back to you in a couple hours. She sends me a text. She's like, well, we'll sponsor you like 40%. We'll give you 40% off a new one. I was like, that is amazing.
Cool.
I'm like, that's about the same as this used one. And then she calls me. I'm actually sitting at Tool Shed Brewery with Graham Sherman, who was one of the people who inspired me to do this. I started going back. I started coaching his kids in mountain biking in West Bragg.
No way.
Yeah. Anyway, she calls and she's like, I've got to go on a trip. But she's like, send me your address. We're going to sponsor you. And we want you to be an ambassador for Saris. It's like, oh my goodness. I'm like, I don't have tens of thousands of followers. But on a hyper local level, this connection, this is what it is. So I'm trying to figure that out right now,
Super
Jeff.
cool, man.
It is super cool.
It's
So I might need your help.
Sure. I'm on board.
really do.
I'm on board.
So with bread and, bread and beer.
Yeah, you've warmed me up.
and-
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. So it's Chipotle's.
Super cool, man. I just feel like you and I could talk forever. We should probably put a bow on this sucker.
Yeah.
The only question I ask, which would be interesting for you because it's Calgary centric. The only question I ask is when I say Calgary, where does your head go? You can extrapolate a little bit outside of Calgary, but
I do consider Millerville.
Bragg Creek
it's
right
is
there.
Calgary.
Yeah.
It is Calgary,
Yeah.
and for me, it's home. I've been very lucky to travel around the world and been to many countries, but I love Calgary.
Yep.
I really do. Its proximity to the mountains, the prairies. Instead of going on a larch hike this year, I went and explored in the coulees along the Red Deer River, digging up dinosaur bones and just exploring, and just like, you hold that piece and you're like, this is like 100 million years old. What the? So, and the opportunity and the people, I think that there's, it's not too big, not too small. And I just love the opportunity and there's some great possibilities that have always come out of Calgary and, contributors.
Yep.
And, I see that moving forward as well, as a hub for contributing. So
it's interesting. Yeah, a couple of people said opportunity, and I feel that too, just being born and raised here and being able to spin up this idea. And yeah, it just feels like it doesn't feel like there's anything holding us back here.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
And you can get out of town and go hit those mountains and get on a bike or, go explore the Badlands. My goodness.
Yep.
And it's all based out of Calgary.
Yep.
So I love that.
Super cool, man. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah.
Thanks for the bread. Thanks for the aioli. And thanks for the beers.
Yeah.
It was really cool to sit down and just kind of, when Laval said, you should talk to this guy, I'm like, yeah, of course. When he says anything like that, you're like, yeah, okay.
Oh, man.
So anyways, it was really cool to hear your story. So thanks for making the time.
Thanks for creating this space and this opportunity. I feel very grateful and, it's about all of us, right?
Yep.
So thank you.
Thank you.